In recent years, I frankly heard Vince McMahon say a lot of crazy, kind of kooky, off the wall, just out of touch shit. So I knew heading into this appearance on Austin's podcast on the WWE Network that I was going to get a whole bunch of it. And needless to say, this is one of those times where Vince McMahon definitely, at the very worst, met my expectations. Just a lot of off the wall, out of touch crap coming out of his mouth. As I referenced in the last video about this podcast appearance by Vince with Austin, talking about Cesaro. I didn't even get to the part that he thinks maybe one of the reasons that Cesaro doesn't connect is the fact that he's Swiss. That's scary. This is the guy running the entire WWE. This is the HNIC of all that you see when it comes to WWE. And one of the reasons he thinks that a guy like Cesaro has not gotten over is not because of anything that the company's done or anything related to the character or the lack of character that has been developed. It's because Cesaro is Swiss. Holy Christ almighty. But that wasn't even the biggest gem out of that entire appearance, nor was it even the first gem out of the whole appearance. Now, today I'm going to talk about the very first thing that Vince McMahon addressed with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that is the current status of the WWE Network. As Vince McMahon put it, because Austin dove right into it, you're on the network, you might as well ask about the network first and foremost. When asked about the network, Vince said things were going great. They're going just fine. Really, Vince? The WWE Network is just fine? To borrow from Austin, I don't think so. Now look, I understand that some supporters of the WWE and Vince and the WWE management themselves will trot out that kind of tired line of this is a similar service to a Netflix. It's going to take time to build that subscriber base, skip-de-skip, and whoop-de-whoop. Look, I understand that can be a case. I understand that it can take time to create that loyal audience while growing your audience at the same time. But to sit there and say that the network is just fine and that things are going great is complete and total crap. Now, I wasn't expecting Vince McMahon to come on the WWE Network and totally prune and trash the WWE Network. No, I think that's unrealistic, and I think that's a bit ridiculous. That wouldn't be a good business move for a businessman. However, there does come a point in time where you become very disingenuous and you become very hard to believe, and also as a result, you ruin any credibility that you may have about the topic when you say stuff that is so political, that is so outside of the realm of even making any sense whatsoever, that people just look at you and laugh and say, this crazy old fuck has officially lost his ever-loving fucking mind. Now, excuse the hell out of me, Vince. And I know you could sit there and cite the 96% satisfaction rate with the WWE Network, but please, 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 tell me how everything is going great and it's going just fine when you just had a situation in November where it was going so fine and so great that you decided to give away the damn network for free for an entire fucking month. Not a day, not a week, for an entire fucking month. As a general rule, when you are giving away that type of free trial, and again, some of you might reference Netflix, okay, believe what you want, but when you go from not really offering a free trial at all to all of a sudden having to offer an entire month free, including one of your biggest shows of the year, pay-per-views and Survivor Series on that network free, things aren't going great. When before the release and launch of the network, it was put out there that the company needed to do around 1.2 million to maybe 1.3 million consistent, steady subscribers to the network in order for this thing to even break even, or at least worst case scenario or best case scenario, maybe get back to the previous financial level that the WWE had with the old pay-per-view model. You're talking about a company that has about 750,000 subscribers, 9+ months in. So you're just over 50% of the way to the point that you needed to be to break even compared to what you used to get under the old pay-per-view business model. That doesn't sound like things are going great. That doesn't sound like things are going just fine. And what's even more frightening about it is the fact that the WWE Network has now expanded into countries all across the globe. This is not just a domestic United States product anymore. And the WWE isn't even sniffing the butt crack of 1 million subscribers. And that's not even the number that they need in order to break even. And then on top of that, break even in terms of compared to what they used to get from the dying pay-per-view business model. How is the network going well when you pissed off all types of cable and satellite providers? How is the network going well when you're barely 50% to your long-term goal? How is the network going well when one of your biggest and most important, and perhaps arguably outside of Canada maybe, your single biggest and most important market to have the WWE Network in terms of the percentage of people per capita that would watch your product and actually subscribe to that network in the United Kingdom, you still don't have the fucking network available in the United Kingdom. It still baffles the mind to me that this network was rolled out without having almost complete and total international availability, or at the very least, making sure that it was available in the US, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and some other key strategic locations. At least make it available where it matters the most. And leave it to the WWE to take all of this time to finally get it, and then rush the damn shit out there and still have a major important market for them that they make sure they touch every time they go on a European tour in the UK, be completely left out in the cold with the WWE Network. When you go to Europe for a tour, you go to the UK, and you have to blot out the WWE Network logo on your ring apron. When you have the fans chanting, "Where's our network? Where's our network?" Vince McMahon, please save us from your stupidity. This network is not going well. It is bordering on a complete and total unmitigated disaster. When you figure that this can in part be tied in to the lackluster return on a new television deal that the company got, and you can't sit there by any real measurement and say that this network is a freaking success. Well, 96% of the customers are happy. Whoopee! What bullshit factory did you pull that out of? It's great if you want to believe that 96% of the people that have it are happy. The problem is you're barely just over 50% of the way to the goal of where you needed to be with this damn network to begin with. It's great if you're pleasing the customers, but you have half the customers that you really need. How fucking good is that? Me personally, I would think as a businessman, I would rather have 1.5 million subscribers instead of 750,000 and maybe have my satisfaction rate around 55 or 60%. Because, yeah, the satisfaction rate wouldn't be that great, but that's something I can improve on. That's something I can build upon. I'd rather worry about that with a much larger subscriber number. I mean, this is just completely and totally ridiculous. The shit about Cesaro and all the other shit I'm going to talk about from this podcast, it just shows to a frightening degree just how out of touch Vincent Kennedy McMahon is today. The WWE Network is just fine. Just fine. That's like me looking in the mirror and then going to the dentist and telling him, "My teeth are just fine. Ignore the snaggletooth. That's perfect the exact fucking way it needs to be." If I said that, that would mean I'm completely out of touch with reality. Vince McMahon sitting there and saying that his network is just fine just shows again just how completely out of touch this man is and how much he has totally lost his grasp on reality. This transcends talking about it just from a political standpoint, from a corporate standpoint, to just bordering on delusional. And how much longer are the board of directors and shareholders going to want to continue to have a delusional man running their damn company?